We are gathered here today to celebrate the good and the bad that was once known as Dead by Daylight. Or not really so, because the game hasn't died, even though it should have based off its track record.
It just won't die.
So this video is going to take a little bit of a different pace than the other videos. We're just kind of talking about what exactly is going on with Dead by Daylight and how it relates to us and what it looks like going forward. For those of you that don't know, I did put a bit of Dead by Daylight out on my channel for a while, but I am putting out a lot less of it, and I'm trying to go back to roots to what my channel's identity really feels like it should be. But nonetheless, Dead by Daylight still plays an important role for my own enjoyment. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, and Psyren's going to give her thoughts as well. And you guys are going to be subject to listen. Okay, so to start this all off, let's start with the first topic. So killer anxiety, really just the state of the killer role in Dead by Daylight right now, is kind of abysmal at the best.
Yeah, that's a good word. Abysmal.
So many people just don't want to play killer, and like, I understand. So for those of you who are newer to the channel or don't know, watch my other channel, or haven't kept up with any of my Dead by Daylight development, I actually am a Springtrap main. Ever since Springtrap came out, I am the purple guy, my dudes. I have a pretty high kill rate. I'd say I'm still developing. I think right now my average is a little over 75%, and on Dead by Daylight I have about 9,000 hours in the game.
I mean, I have killer anxiety. I absolutely 100% do. I used to be like 50-50 killer versus survivor main. Yeah, no, not anymore. I am an artist main. But I almost never play killer rounds anymore. Even if there's an event, I really don't play anymore because the last anniversary sucked.
That's very true. The last anniversary really was bad.
It was awful for killers.
If you're just hearing this on autoplay, we're talking about the 10th anniversary in particular. Yes,
the 10th anniversary, because the last event that I played killer was the last Blood Moon event that we had this year, 2026. It was fun. I had a great time, but playing like in just regular mode, no. Playing in the 10th anniversary, no. I didn't play killer at all. I didn't really play survivor at all either because it was boring, but killer anxiety is very real and I experience it, and so I'm like basically just a survivor main now, and that sucks.
Yeah, it really does suck, because the killer, you'd figure that there'd be a lot of fun that you could actually have with that, seeing as you have it's more than just a skin and like a single role that you play.
Yeah.
Like, there's such diversity across a bunch of different killers and a bunch of different ways you can play to get to a win as killer. Whereas on Survivor, I feel like it has less variety than playing killer.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah, and I think for the state of killer in Dead by Daylight, like, it just seems so poorly directed. Like, the killers don't get anything right now. The killers have the hardest time, and Survivor really is a lot easier than in my history of playing the game. Like, it's the easiest to play Survivor right now than it ever has been. And that's not just like new perks that come out or stuff like that. It's just how they have the game set up, and just, even if there's a variety of killers, I can understand like new players who are playing Survivor jumping into the game, not understanding all the different killers, maybe struggling against them for a while. And yeah, I get that. But it also is like, you put a couple 100 hours into the game, you're gonna learn them all. Because, I mean, it gets to the point where the ones you'll know the least if you only play Survivor are the ones people play the least, which are the ones that are the weakest.
Yeah.
And if you already have an easy enough time going up against the stronger ones, just from that practice, you're still probably going to be able to stomp the weaker killers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have, 2,000 hours?
Yeah, I think you just got 2,000.
Yeah, and I would not call myself like the best at this game by any means. I've got a lot of time in it, but it is monumentally easier now than it was when I was at like, I don't know, 200 hours. And it's not because I've learned more, which I have. It is
Yes, you have.
because it's just easier. Like, gens go by so fast and killers have nothing to work with.
Yeah, and I think the palette density changes that they decided to do really started this ball rolling of just fuck ups because they massively increased the resources for killers. Like, I playing as a survivor, I try not to because I try to work on my skill, but I easily could just start pre-dropping everything. And I have done as an experiment before in several matches where it's just, let's see how much I can pre-drop and see how far I get away with it. And you can easily get everyone out just by doing that.
Yeah.
With the sheer amount of resources that survivors are handed now. And that's, I don't even use perks like 5 moves ahead or windows of opportunity to identify them. I just eyeball them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually run either of those perks.
Yeah, and I feel like windows of opportunity being the most used and most widely popular perk is telling of something. I wanted to say a little bit just to kind of bring some of my experience directly to like this killer anxiety thing, where I'm pretty calculated, right? But when I'm going for wins, I guess I do experience a little bit of killer anxiety in this decision. Since I'm a Springtrap main and I've been learning a lot of things, go check out my videos if you want to see like how I've been developing. I have tons already slated and scheduled. Like most of the stuff that I've played for that channel I played at least a month ago, and it was just all a bunch of rounds in a row. But you should check that out because I really went for fine-tuning Springtrap. I learned his power very well. Then Jason came out. And Jason is really just a better version of Springtrap. Minus a couple of like neat things you can do at loops here and there. Jason has better mobility. He has longer range for his power. And he, like, it just in general is a better balanced killer than Springtrap. If I were to put them on a tier list, which I'm not going to make a tier list for all the killers on this episode, if you guys want to see that, let us know. But if I were to put him on a tier list, I would put Springtrap at like a B, like a solid B, maybe B minus even, with like how other people play him. And then I would put Jason as a solid A, if not A plus. And how my killer anxiety manifests is when when I get all loaded up and I'm in a round, I'm like, shoot, I only have so much time, and I want to at least have a win. I have a higher chance of winning with Jason just because he's a stronger killer with a stronger power, just period. So I would more often elect to play around as Jason than going to my main Springtrap. And if I got a win or two and still had extra time, then I'd play a Springtrap, knowing that there's the possibility I could get steamrolled.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not saying that I have like 100% kill rate with Jason. Right now it's sitting at a pretty neat 96%. But
oh my gosh.
It is like I still obviously lose. If I lose, usually it's in a landslide. I usually am not like, I either get that 4K, very rarely a 3K, because I'm one of those dirty, toxic killers that slugs for the 4K. And then, or everyone escapes. So yeah, I wouldn't say that like I have a 100% kill rate, but still, nonetheless, it's the fact that I actively like to feel good about playing this game. I gravitate to someone that I enjoy playing less, just so that I can have the result that I want. And then I can play the person I enjoy more in the event that the only round I'm able to play with them, or have the only couple rounds I have the chance to play with them, and completely trash.
That's rough, buddy.
Okay, and so the next thing that this leads into, because there's obviously like a lot of people suffering with this killer anxiety and like the state of killers. Like one of the biggest causes of it is just it boils down to one thing, I think. Because everything else contributes. And everything else contributes heavily. But I think there's one thing, and it's the state of this specific thing that behavior refuses to address or feels like it's in a fine place that causes a lot of this killer anxiety. And I think that it takes a majority of what has led to this killer anxiety epidemic, and everything else has just been more straws on that camel's back, But I think it's about, and what I want to talk about next, second chance perks. Second chance perks are, I mean,
a disease.
I would go to say so now. Okay, look, when Borrowed Time came out, everyone was running it. Like, it was just kind of one of those things that everyone ran it. You could trust that everyone ran it. And then when someone didn't, and you got unhooked, and you didn't see that you had Borrowed Time active, you're like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck. Because there was no built-in endurance back then. So there was no built-in Borrowed Time. Someone unhooked you near the killer, and they don't bring Borrowed Time, especially since Bill's a free character.
Like, come on.
Everyone, anyone that you're playing with, that's when the endgame chat would be like filled with
the hate.
filled with the hate.
What's the matter with you? You suck.
And to be honest, like, stuff like that back then, that was fun, and people didn't take it that personally, but still, it was like those situations, totally understandable.
Yeah.
Borrowed Time was used pretty frequently. Especially for killers that would find that camping and tunneling was a bit easier to try to win games.
Right.
But I feel like back then it was a lot more skill expressive. If you were playing as a survivor, you have to play a lot smarter. But now,
gotta be sneaky.
Now we have a lot of second chance perks, and what's more on top of it is that they can all be used together. So what am I talking about? Decisive Strike was brought in during the Halloween chapter, and that Decisive Strike has always been kind of like a toss-up for me on, like, is it a good mechanic? Is it a bad mechanic? Does it punish killers? Does it punish survivors? Does it reward killers, reward survivors? Like, what exactly would balance be for Decisive Strike? Because it's just such a strong perk.
Right.
So we had Decisive Strike come out. We're Gonna Live Forever. A lot of people probably don't know what it used to be. It's not what it is now. We're Gonna Live Forever used to actually be that anytime you safely unhooked a survivor, you got a token up to 4 tokens. And for each of those tokens, you got 25% more blood points for the round.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the original. It was kind of the what they decided to do for survivors after Barbecue and Chili came out for Leatherface. Because Barbecue and Chili used to give you tokens and do the same thing for unique survivor hooks. So for hooking each survivor for the first time. So those guys were used to farm blood points a ton, and I miss that missed those mechanics. I thought that those were very incentivizing to try to try to keep the game more balanced, in ways.
Yeah, right.
We have We're Gonna Live Forever. Unbreakable, I feel like, is a good second chance perk, but also I feel like with how everything else is, it's a bit of a strong second chance perk right now. I don't think it was an issue before we had so many, if that makes sense. And I'll get to that in a second. But we have other second chance perks, like Made for This has the second chance where when you're picking someone up. We got Soul Guard. Especially when you pair these guys together. We have Conviction now. If you would even go to say, depending on, everyone has different definitions of second chance perks. I think it's just anything that can give you a second chance or reward you for bad gameplay.
Yeah.
You make a mistake and you basically get a jail-free card.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things that I don't have a problem with second chance perks, and I want to talk about this. This might actually get me hate in the comments for people who are watching it. I don't have a problem with Dead Hard at all. I think Dead Hard is the best second chance perk, and I personally feel like most people should just run Dead Hard instead of the other second chance perks. And I say that coming from this stance of everything's kind of really shitty for the killer right now. But when you look at Dead Hard, it is very skill expressive and counterable.
I was gonna say, you have to actually know what you're doing to use that.
Exactly. You got to time it right. And the killer, if they suspect you have it and they get context clues, they can counter it. It's something that it's counterable, skill expressive, and it's not incredibly overpowered. A good Dead Hard can be incredibly frustrating to come across as killer, but it also can be incredibly rewarding when you use it right as survivor. I have a video that'll be dropping soon after this video drops on my other channel, where it shows someone who wasn't very good at using the Dead Hard.
Yeah.
So that is something that I think really it's a second chance perk, but it's the one that I don't really have any qualms with right now.
Yeah.
Another one that I think is a good concept, but I feel like it just needs to be reworked a little bit, is Conviction. I like Conviction as a form of like Unbreakable, being able to get yourself up off the floor and then you have a certain period of time or whatever. I think the activation requirements are just they're a bit too easy to meet. For anyone who doesn't know, Conviction, you only need to heal 25% of a health state. It's you.
It's me.
For Conviction, it is a Michonne
Right.
perk.
I've run it before. I feel like such an idiot, but tell me, what do you need?
You need to heal, I believe, right now it's 25% of another survivor, or maybe it's just survivor in general. Maybe you didn't even count to yourself. But you need to heal 25% worth, and then it activates.
That's it?
Yeah.
That was not the requirement when I ran it. Did they change it?
Let me double check right now. We are sitting in front of Google machines after all.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was wrong. After completing a healing action on the survivor.
A healing action.
So that doesn't mean a full health state. It means you just complete a healing action on them. Based off of what I'm seeing from the description and how I remember it working, all you have to do is run up to someone, heal them right up off the floor, and it's active.
Oh,
Or they're at 98%, you start healing them, and it's active.
that's crazy.
Yeah, okay, so I'm correct. It does not take a percentage in order to do it. It just finished doing a healing action period.
That is absurd.
That's all it takes for Conviction. I think that it's a little bit lax on that. I would like to see it work more like Lucky Break. So Lucky Break, some people could call a second chance perk. I don't think that it really falls into that category. I think it's good as a chase perk, because it's on a rigid timer. It's not exactly giving you a second chance. It is giving you an upper edge in chase. I don't know. It falls into like a gray area for me that Lithe kind of teeters on.
Yeah.
If it were something a lot more like that, I feel like it'd be a bit more balanced. But back to the point, second chance perks in general, there are so many. And what the problem is that I can run, or I can have Decisive Strike, the most broken perk in the game right now. Shoulder the burden. So let's say I just paired a bunch of perks together, right? As a survivor, I could go in and pair Decisive Strike with Shoulder the Burden, and I could pair that with We're Gonna Live Forever and Adrenaline. All of those are considered second chance perks. Some people would consider Adrenaline not that strong, but let's just say for the purpose of this, that's what I run, right?
Sure.
And let's say my teammates run that too. God forbid we even talk about if we're all playing as a Swift and coordinating, because everyone knows that's way stronger than going solo queue.
For sure.
Or even just duos. So if I have all of that, not only is it going to be challenging to get me off of hook, in order to get me down right off of hook, right? But what a lot of people do is they utilize these second chance perks in an aggressive manner. They take aggro against the killer. Led back to the hook when the survivor is being unhooked. Instead of being able to hit the person that was trying to rescue them, the person who just got unhooked gets body blocking and directly in the killer's face, trying to take that protection hit. Right. They take another hit. Other person, maybe they were healthy. Who knows what the situation is? It's different every game. Chase ensues. If they continue to try to, I'm going to be aggressive and try to take chase with the killer, make it so that the only way the killer could even try to have pressure is to get this survivor. They could go down, have Decisive Strike. I get used a Decisive Strike off the killer's shoulder. Now let's say that I'm not terribly great at looping this particular killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get unhooked, I take aggro, I use decisive strike. By the time all of that's over, at least, like at the very minimum, we're looking at probably 30 seconds
Yeah.
that the killer's time has been kind of wasted, which is a full generator's worth.
Yep.
And at that point, like, they haven't even caught me and get ready to hook me yet. I've just wasted their time, and they're back to
Yep.
having no pressure. Now, let's say I go to second hook and he finally catches me, puts me down, puts me back up. Everyone knows first chase that, like, you're going to lose. If you don't close it fast, you're going to lose about 3 gens at the very beginning of the match. It's just the way the math works. 90 seconds to repair a generator. Survivors don't often like to group up on a single one, and they won't wander around. They'll get on gens immediately until they have something else to do.
Yep.
These are not the days when people are searching for the totems or trying to go for chests or anything like that anymore. There's not enough incentive for anything like that. They just get on the gens.
Yes.
And so if they're on the gen and all 3 generators are done, by the time that you get first hook, they end up forcing the aggro tunnel, which another generator gets done by, that 30 seconds of the other 3 working on a generator within that time.
Yep.
And let's say they don't have any other progress. There's only 1 generator left and you have 1 person on death hook. That's all the pressure that the killer has. That's it.
That's it.
But then Psyren runs up and you just shoulder the burden. And now
Ha!
there's no death hook.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fine. We're good actually.
Yeah, exactly. All the pressure that the killer had is just completely gone. None of it was worth the time. And all of this isn't skill based. This is just because of perks. This is just because what we decided to bring in.
Yeah.
If we didn't bring these things in, we wouldn't have that option, right?
Right.
So, like, I wouldn't be taking super aggressively to try to trigger my decisive strike. And even if you left me down if the killer left me down on the floor for decisive strike, because they knew that I probably had it because I rushed them. Oh, I got unbreakable, so I'm back up now. So you lost all your pressure again.
Again.
So all this leads up to it's way too hard for any killer to keep enough pressure unless you have a decent amount of skill and are playing a killer that isn't high tier.
Yeah.
Like those combined in public matches and public lobbies, that's really that's the only way that you can try to even win these matches. And if you're going up against a Survive with Friends who is coordinated about playing the game, because
You're cooked.
Look, guys, all right, you guys, if you've seen Drunk by Daylight, if you've seen any of our other videos, we're not like super comp sweaty players, survivors, or anything like that. We, just like I'm sure a lot of you out there, love to enjoy just scary experiences in general. And so we're lax, we're laid back, and we don't run this kind of stuff to try to win. We run it for the experience.
Absolutely.
It's like, it is like for us, that entire thing, that it's about the experience. It's not about victory. And that's something that gets lost on a lot of survivors because they're all about winning.
Yeah, honestly. It's turned into a bunch of COD lobbies.
Yeah, for real. It's kind of disappointing that that's really what it's turned into. And I want to get more into that in a little bit too, about what exactly has Dead by Daylight turned into. But before that, let's brush real quick on something that I know that you've experienced with me, and I've experienced on multiple occasions going into rounds. And sometimes where I'm very doubtful of myself, and there's plenty of reason for this to feed into killer anxiety, and I understand. Let's talk about subtle cheaters.
Ugh. Okay.
So I am still editing the video with me, you, and Iron Mochi with the cheater.
Yeah.
I still have that from ages ago, where we were in a lobby with a cheater on our team, and we didn't know it until later in the game.
Right.
And in that story, all's well ends well, and we ended up working with the killer to kill the cheater. And we reported, and they got banned. So all of it worked out, but let's also talk about the fact that subtle cheaters are so hard to identify, and they ruin the game experience for everyone, especially in this environment of hard, like, have to win. Because if it's already so hard for a killer to get a win at all, And let's classify a win real quick. What do you consider a win if you're playing as killer?
Oh my gosh. For me, well, I mean, I used to consider a win was a 4K, but it's turned into if I can get a tie with a 2K, I'll take that as a win.
All right. I think that's a healthy way to think about it. 2K is a tie, 3K or more is a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it time-wise too. If a killer sat and proxy camped and just stared directly at a survivor for their entire timer from when they were hooked all the way until they are dead, almost all the other generators would be repaired.
Oh, yeah.
If nobody went for save and we're just like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to chance that. Think old Basement Bubba before the camp meter. Insidious Basement Bubba, you knew how to play. Everyone knew how to play. Oh, okay. Don't go in the basement. Everyone just works on gens. One person dies, 3 people gets out. It's a survivor win.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way that it goes.
Yeah.
And it's just the timing. It's the time management aspect of it.
Right.
But, so a win, I would say 3K or more. A tie is a 2K. 1K or less is a loss. That's a pretty simple way to put it.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
So if people are competing so heavily to not get any of those kills, and it's so hard for a killer to get any of those kills in the first place, and behaviors just been making it easier and easier for survivors to just be handed all this stuff that makes it easier for them to escape or for them to not die and for everyone to stay in the match as long as they do. Subtle cheaters make it even worse, because even if the killer is skilled and they've been practicing and they are sweating their asses off, trying to catch a subtle cheater at Shack is just impossible.
Oh, yeah, and it makes you question yourself.
Exactly. Makes you think, what did they have? What was I doing? What were they doing? It puts that doubt. It ruined the game for the killer. And for survivors, usually it makes it a lot more boring.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are a lot of survivors out there that probably are like, well, I escaped, so it's fine. Like, yeah, but maybe you didn't have much fun during the game. Or maybe the cheater during the game didn't come for you after all, or it was just they just took care of themselves. Who knows how the match plays out, but either way, I think subtle cheaters are a massive problem in this game right now, to be stacked on top of everything that's already wrong with the game.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think if they don't get this, if they don't get some of these things, especially the subtle cheaters, under control, that they're going to be looking at a really, really, really rough next couple of years, because, popular IPs are only going to carry them so far.
Right. I mean, every time there's a cheater, and you can tell it's a cheater, you're just like, this match is done. It's done. Like, there's a cheater here. This is stupid. We're gonna get out so easily. Why am I even here?
Yeah, and that's when our goal, us personally, is to find a way to get the cheater kill.
Yep. Sabotage the cheater!
Yep, exactly. Because, I feel like it's killers versus survivors. Unless there's a cheater, then it's everyone versus the cheater.
Yeah.
That's my personal conviction on that. I think that if the cheaters aren't like addressed, or if things aren't fixed for cheaters in the game in general, like the anti-cheat that they're using or anything or something like that, that it's really going to make it hard. If everyone just wants to think about, when new chapters come out, right? We can look historically. When the FNAF chapter came out, playership went up drastically. Everyone wanted to play as Springtrap. Everyone wanted to play against Springtrap. Everyone wanted to play on Five Nights at Freddy's, the Pizzeria map. Like,
it was huge. It was crazy.
It was absolutely crazy, the amount of players that came. Now, Jason came out. Jason broke that record. Now, what's the one thing about when both of them came out? So, there was a lot with the FNAF chapter. Granted, there was no survivor, but people still wanted to play all the different things that FNAF came with.
Right.
And until people learned how to counter Springtrap, he was very strong. Then that goes for any killer that's released. Until someone learns how to counter him, they're very strong, unless they're very easy to figure out. I feel like that's going to be the same exact thing that goes on with the new community killer. I see a lot of... I see it's very high skill ceiling, very high difficulty to play this killer. I don't think a lot of killers are going to keep playing it after it comes out because it's going to be too easy for survivors to counter them. Once they come out, we'll see about that. But Jason came out. Jason, incredibly strong. Jason's add-ons, incredibly strong. Like, if you play as Jason and you have your fundamentals down, like, it's easy to get wins. It's easy to get wins. And even now, even after they nerf, like, Sana Rock and all the everything else, he is still very, very strong killer. And people still played.
Yeah,
people played a lot.
Come across
it
them
was
all the time.
It was received very well. Right.
Right.
So a good killer comes out, a good strong killer comes out, very well received. Now let's take a look at Houndmaster. Houndmaster came out, and Houndmaster was definitely not very well received. Houndmaster wasn't very strong or interesting to play against, and it was just the killer and the survivor. They didn't have a map or anything like that. And not a lot of people wanted to play as or against them.
Yeah, we really, even when she first came out, we didn't see many.
Another chapter that came out, The Walking Dead. When it came out, yeah, people were excited for it, and heck, I was excited for it too. But, like, The Walking Dead chapter didn't have nearly as much hype.
No, it really didn't.
The Walking Dead chapter kind of, like, it not to mention that it came with just a really horrible patch to go along with it. There were people that were hyped about the Survivor, but the hype died very fast. Like, people were talking about it for a very brief second, and then it all stopped. Whereas with Jason, with Springtrap, with the more successful chapters that had strong killers, they did very well. And they are still doing very well.
Yeah.
Springtrap is still one of the most selected killers. And Jason is a killer with still like the highest kill, one of the highest kill rates. God damn, I can't say anything today.
One of the He's high. He's just high. He's high.
He's just fucking high, guys.
Yes, Jason, one of the highest kill rates. He's doing great.
Yes. So one of the things that it just shows is that with like how much people talk about it and how many people are actually playing the game, it really is a benefit to behavior and the player base in the game itself when there is a challenging killer to go up against.
Yeah.
Like, we noticed that once they've thrown in their nerfs and they've made killers weaker after their initial release, what do we see? A decline in player base.
Yep.
Less people want to play, and maybe it could be that they're getting bored of it. But for the most part, when things are changed, I mean, if I was getting better against a killer that was pretty strong, and I was making progress, and then suddenly that killer just became even easier to counter.
Again, what even is the point?
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, well, I mean, all right, I guess I progressed from level 10 to level 99 real quick. I don't have a reason to really play now to try to grind and get better. And that's really something that just sucks, that I feel like gives the same kind of feel that subtle cheaters bring into the game.
Yeah, and I think it really shows to the mindset of players where, I mean, damn, I just want to feel accomplished, you know? Like, I just want to feel like I did something, like everything I worked toward, I got it, but now it's so many people just want that instant gratification.
Yeah, they do. And that really sucks, because this is not the kind of game that I feel like people should be seeking out if they're looking for instant gratification of any kind, or if they want easy wins. I mean, if you wanted to play killer, I personally really enjoy when killer is a bit challenging. But I think what I enjoy more about it isn't when people who have casually no skill in the game, sorry to say, casually no skill in the game are able to keep up with me. I don't find that enjoyable. No. I find it enjoyable being matched up with people who do have quite a bit of skill and having to try to play and learn against them.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. You're like, oh man, this guy is really, he's been looping me for the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like he knows what he's doing. He's got his fundamentals down.
Yeah, or oh my gosh, she got that save. That was crazy. I can't believe she did that as a killer, not just like, okay.
I better play this smart or else I'm gonna lose to perks.
Yeah, versus, I can't seem to catch up to this survivor. That's so strange. What's going on here?
Right. And so I don't think like as far as killer goes, I enjoy having that challenge.
Yeah.
Of playing killer. I don't think playing killer should be a walk in the park either, but I
No.
think that survivor should be the antithesis to killer. I think when you're going up against big scary bad guy in a horror game, that killer that you're going up against should be difficult to go up against, no matter who's
they should have
playing
the upper hand.
No matter who's behind the wheel, it should be difficult. I think that's personally what I think. It shouldn't be like, oh, okay, I can just steamroll these guys into oblivion.
You mean the killer who's supposed to have the advantage should have the advantage?
In an asymmetrical horror game? Yeah, crazy concept, right?
Wildin'.
Okay, so real quick, let's talk about how could things get better for Dead by Daylight. One of the things that we've talked about is palette density. We mentioned how palette density affected the game.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
I think that palette density definitely needs to be revisited. I play as killer, and I think it's ridiculous when I see like 3 palettes right in a row that the survivor could drop all 3, and I wouldn't be able to catch up to them, even planning ahead for them having all 3.
Yeah.
How can you have so many of these resources available? I think personally, like this, it would be fine if generator speeds weren't the way they were.
Yeah.
If the state of second chance perks wasn't the way that it is.
Yep.
Because then, taking time to break any doesn't instantly get you the loss of the game because you have no pressure.
Yeah. Well, and on the other side of it, if you think about it, as survivors, we see in lobbies that we're in when we're with players who obviously have not been playing for very long, where, in this match, it's like, oh, okay, I'm taking Chase. I'm going to take him up to this area. Oh, wait, no, there's no pallets here. Let me take him over here. Oh, wait, no, there's no pallets here. Well, let me take him over here. Oh, wait, no, God pallet's already gone. Never mind. And it's because these survivors are so used to having 500 freaking pallets on every map that they just throw them all. There's no skill. You don't have to think about it. I'm gonna take this L. I'm gonna go down. I go down here because I have to save this pallet for later.
Yeah, like I don't have to mind game each and every one of these, and that's the mark of a smarter looper, right? And that's what you're supposed to learn from the game, is when you learn that macro. But the problem is that it's so viable for people to hold W and just throw pallets right now that if you do know how to mind game and save those pallets and break from tile to tile to stay ahead of the killer and not get hit, your resources are too bountiful.
Yeah, 100%.
I think there are a lot of things that I've seen online that people have brought up. Like some people say more resources against the S tier killers, and then less resources against the lower tier killers. So 21 pallets when you go up against a ghoul, blight, or nurse. Or, if you're going up against a pig or a trapper, you get 12.
Yeah, okay.
That there's potential there and stuff like that. I thought that was a good idea. I'm not entirely sure on how they would implement that or make that work. That's not my job. I just talk about the game and yap about it so that you guys can listen.
Yeah, we just complain.
I think one thing that really needs to be reassessed is the length of the game, because right now most of the matches that I edit, they're like 10 minutes. So a match is about 10 minutes long, and those are the games where I'm usually winning. When I'm losing, it's quicker. So
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I can have plenty of rounds, most games where the team is way more prepared than me, and they can go in and just do exactly what they came to do and all escape, or at least have a majority escape. Those games, they have the generators done in less than 5 minutes every time.
It's crazy.
Kind of brings to question, how does this play into making the game more balanced and more fair? If the game is ending so quickly because the objective for survivors is so easy and quick to do, when you just have a little bit of coordination, which we've done, like
Oh, yeah.
we've even participated in a recent tournament that we did that pretty quickly. Like just a little bit of coordination, taking things a little bit more seriously than our casual fun, so spooky bad guy kind of mannerisms.
Right.
And we're able to get to all the generators done incredibly quickly. How is one player on the killer side supposed to manage all of the other hook states, any kind of deaths or anything
In 5 minutes.
in that amount of time, in that 5
Yeah.
minutes?
Like how?
Usually without an advantage or an advantageous killer, or maps. Let's not even talk about maps. I don't even have that on the topics I want to talk about.
Don't even get me started.
I think that perks really, in general, just need to be completely reworked when it comes to second chance perks, and maybe some of them looked at for killers.
Yeah.
Personally, one thing I've always been a fan of is the idea of second chance tokens. So you can run second chance perks, but you only have so many second chance tokens, and you can only gain them by doing specific things, you know?
Okay.
So, like, I can't use, let's say, I can't use Decisive Strike and then immediately turn it into Dead Hard.
Yeah.
And then, use Blood Rush and then Lithe to get away or something. Right? I gotta meet, or I have a certain amount of tokens. Like, I have my token, I decide to use it on my Decisive Strike, and it deactivates that perk for the rest of the match. And I can't use that perk for the rest of the match, but I also can't use my Dead Hard yet. Maybe I get away. Maybe I heal up. Maybe I do the other things I need to do to progress the match. And then I can get another second chance token, however the mechanic would work. Maybe not. Maybe you don't get any more. I don't know what balance would look like for that. But the fact that you can just spam second chance perks on every survivor
It's ridiculous.
nonstop is pretty ridiculous. Even having it where it's like second chance perks when you're within a radius of another survivor doesn't work. You're within 4 meters of another survivor and your second chance perk won't work.
Yeah, there's so many different things that they could do. They would just have to be tested.
It would need to be tested. It need to be thought out, and they need to take it seriously. I don't sit and think these things through super in depth or anything, because it's not my job. I just come up with the ideas.
For that.
Yeah, I don't come up with these ideas. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so good. Let me go email behavior. I'm just like, these are things I come up with casually, just every now and then. And I'm like, man, if only they did some bullshit like that, maybe it would actually work. Maybe they could actually balance the game so that it's fun for both sides. Because right now, as it stands, Dead by Daylight isn't even installed on my computer. And as much as I love the game and I want to get better at Springtrap still, and I still want to keep making those videos, I just don't have the incentive to play.
Yeah.
Which brings us onto another thing. Currently, we're recording this actually the day before it releases. Before this video drops, that is. Which means that right now in Dead by Daylight, the Lights Out modifier is still out. And Lights Out has not brought me back.
And that's huge, because Lights Out has always been our favorite modifier.
Lights Out is probably the thing that would bring me back to Dead by Daylight if they made it a permanent game mode. But after what they recently did with it, I don't know if I want to go back.
My boy!
I know.
Look at what you've done to my boy.
It's sad. It is really, really depressing to me, because one of the things I enjoyed playing Survivor as Lights Out is the fact, like with the original iteration and even with the Castlevania, is that it was just completely killer-sided. I was in it for spooks. I was in it for jump scares. Everyone who enjoyed Lights Out was. And the first thing that they do with This Summer Screams when they bring Lights Out back is they give every survivor windows of opportunity. So, oh yeah, sure, it's a bit dark, but I can see 32 meters away every window and pallet. I basically can make this map of this place in my head. There goes the spook factor of the unknown and not knowing what I'm running into.
Oh, that's a corner.
I think that it was a massive mistake to do the generator progression buff that they did for survivors.
Ridiculous.
I think that's ridiculous because it's again, it just shows that behavior would rather pander to the survivor player base than killers. Now, some of you guys watching are our survivors players and they don't play killer often. I'm not talking about people who play survivor for fun. Usually the people I'm talking about who play survivor, not even the people who take it seriously to win, because that I don't even think I have a problem with. It's really the people who cry about and moan about it because they want the easy wins, because they feel they're entitled to it, even if they don't have skill in the game. And I think that behavior is like really leaning into survivors because, well, I mean, it's a 4v1 game. They want to pander to the people that play it, the majority of people that play it, because, I mean, let's be real. They want to sell those skins, don't they?
Oh, they sure do. You know, I don't know. We sound old. We sound old. Back in my day, but like for real, back in my day, playing the Lights Out modifier was so much fun because it was scary.
Yep, I remember when we played and we saw that Leatherface come out of fucking nowhere
my goodness
on
gracious.
Mount Ormond when it was pitch black.
Terrifying.
I will always remember that, and I always strive.
Screams.
I seek that.
The screams, but it's like I started playing this game. Sit down, kiddos, and let me tell you the story of how I used to walk to school in a blizzard, up and down, backwards, sideways, okay, barefoot in the snow. I started playing this game because it was a horror game. I started playing this game because it was supposed to be scary. And it was. It used to be scary when you had like, oh, this killer comes around in the darkness, or this killer is like coming at me and oh my gosh, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know how to loop, or even if I do know how to loop, it doesn't matter because they're going to get me anyway. But like, I got to sneak around. I can't let them see me. They're going to get me. They have the advantage. And that's like, okay, it's a horror game. It's supposed to feel that way. Now, there is no scare factor. Like, they took the one thing that we had left, the one game mode that we had left as the horror enthusiasts who were playing a horror game, and they took the horror aspect away. Dead by Daylight cannot call itself a horror game anymore.
And that's the saddest part to me, is that I got into it because it was a horror game, a multiplayer horror game that did its job very well. And you could have some really fun, goofy moments with too. Like, it's a PvP, and it's the only PvP I've enjoyed. I'm not someone who goes online and wants to play Call of Duty competitively and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, trying to call Dead by Daylight a horror game at this point is trying to call Call of Duty or something like that a horror game because you die in it sometimes.
Yeah. Literally.
And it has horror icons. So, I mean, the scariest thing they've done recently has been making the Crossu. Like, I would say Jason is very good for the game. I'm not sure how far I would go to say Jason hit the horror mark, other than with the Moris and the unique Moris.
Yeah, but that's just like...
Those were unique, those were needed, but again, it's like, they're not hitting. How do you call it a horror game if it is mostly just a game with a couple of horror elements here and there now?
It's not scary.
Yeah, and it's leaned too much into one side. And it's very obvious where the developers have their heads at and what they're focusing on. And that's just sad. It's just sad, depressing. We wish it was different, but here at the asylum, we recognize that's exactly where their heads are at.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
can see it for what it is.
yeah. And so what would make the game fun again? Like, what would bring the player base that Dead by Daylight at its core had and still should have back and keep us there? Because I'm not the only person I know that stopped playing Dead by Daylight just because of the absolutely horrible mistakes and decisions they made.
What would fix it? You want my opinion? I'll give you my opinion.
I want to know your opinion.
I think the easiest way to get back that demographic of people who have stopped playing it, the easiest possible way is to bring Lights Out permanently how it was originally, the very first time.
Okay.
I feel like there you go. Let us play our spooky mode and let the COD players play their regular mode. And there you go, problem solved.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea, because that bypasses a lot of like the balancing that they'd have to do in order to make the regular game mode that way.
Yep. That would be the easiest way to bring everyone in. Give us our spooky mode, our horror mode, the thing that we're actually looking for in a horror ASIM game. And then let those people who all they care about is the win, all they care about is bullying the killer, let them have their regular mode.
So then also begs the question, for all the people who are suffering on the regular 1v4 queue, what can behavior do to prevent them from leaving? Because right now, the balance is abysmal, as we all know.
I feel like there's so many things they could do. They have to undo so many of the things that they've done.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about it in this episode on what has changed and what is a big problem. Aside from just addressing all of the above, I think one of the things that should be done is buffing all the killers. Just a general wide
Agreed.
buff or a generator nerf.
Some base kit changes.
Yeah, some base kit changes to make it better for killer. They've done it all for survivors. They haven't really done much for killer. Now, I think that personally, one thing I've always been a fan of is Bloodlust. Reworking Bloodlust in a way that it's more powerful for killers to go after other survivors, and it will help discourage tunneling based off of how it works. I have more ideas on that. Maybe we'll talk about it in a different episode, because the footage we have here, or the recording we have here, is a bit longer than I wanted it to be, so I'm going to try to wrap this up a little.
You're a blabber.
I blabber a lot, yeah.
You talk a lot.
Guys, look, I've already edited a lot of it out by the time you're hearing this, all right? So don't come at me, all right? But I think that Bloodlust needs to be reworked. I think in general, generator speeds need to be reassessed.
100% agree.
Because the game is just too short for survivors if they know what they're doing. Killers need a chance to be able to do their work and do their side of the game. They would have less of a reason to tunnel and slug if it was more rewarding to go after each and every survivor before getting them out of the game. There is no incentive for that. The incentive that they tried bringing in a while ago for the unique hooks, which was like an increased, next time you kick a generator, it's an increased speed. That was probably one of the most pathetic attempts I've ever seen to give an incentive to a killer. Oh no. Hooray. Like, it gave me that one time. If you did something where it's like, it gives a permanent buff for the rest of the game, then it really makes it to the point where you, it becomes a lot more fast paced. Killer can go and damage generators at fucking Mach speed once they get everybody on that hook. Like, that's an incentive right there. But more importantly, I think that the rounds are too fast in general. I think generator speeds just need to be addressed first.
Agreed.
and then a general buff to killers, just period. Because if you did that, then you'd be putting the power back into the power roll.
Yeah, crazy.
I think that's a good place to start, and then everywhere else is good to work on from there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good starting point.
The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up is I want to talk about, real quick, we just briefly mentioned it, about behavior's greed versus the game's identity.
Okay.
It seems like it's this teeter-totter that they have, and there's the amount of greed they have and the identity of the game. As the game becomes a more generalized, non-horror game, and it loses its identity as it takes away some of the things that were more iconic to it. We still miss the daily rituals. The quests,
yes.
the quests are a good fundamental way to just do things, but there's no active way to do them. It's all passive. It seems a hell of a lot less engaging. When I'm playing, I don't even pay attention to them. Every now and then I'll go and check and be all like, is there some like random side quest thing that I can try to do when I'm bored? And then I'll go through that. But we miss daily rituals. The tomes, they stopped.
Yeah.
Like the specific tasks. Daily rituals, I feel like gave more variety to like killer pick rate.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up earlier. I used to play killer a lot more when we had daily rituals because it would be like, okay, who do I have to play as today?
It incentivized playing as other killers. Now, there isn't. It's not even incorporated into the quests as unique killers. It is, quite frankly, just, it's gonna turn into Nurse by Ghoul Blight. Because those are the strongest killers, and so people will eventually just default to those three because they'll be the only viable ones anymore. My boy Jason, he's close. I don't think he's there. There are plenty of ways to counter Jason, and his reload mechanic takes too long and is a bit out of the way for most loops.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the identity of this game is on this teeter-totter with behavior's greed, because they're going to want to make every penny they possibly can. Part of me wonders if they know that their game is probably doomed at some point, or they think that the game is going to die because everyone talks about it. And they're trying to milk it for as much as they can before they eventually cause their own game's demise, at the cost of taking away from what the game fundamentally is and was. Just scary.
Yeah, truly.
I feel like if they just focused on the game instead of the constant money cash flow. I mean, we've heard about the layoffs. We've heard about a lot of things that they've been doing. They have a lot of changes coming. They're very ambitious. They seem quite costly, and we're unsure if any of it's even good for the game. Like, we all like a pretty game. But in the end, if a game that came off, for gamers, for people like us, for a majority of the player base, people will pick Hollow Knight. And would you say Hollow Knight needs Unreal Engine 5?
No.
It's not just about the graphics. It's not just about the looks. They're prioritizing the money over the actual game. Maybe they're doing it because they think the game's doomed. I think that the game is only doomed as long as they treat it that way. And the only way that Dead by Daylight, or people on playing Dead by Daylight, can really get through to them right now is through their wallets. They have to stop buying skins.
Yeah, that's a big ask.
It is a big ask, especially since the new swimsuit for Tae Young was so popular. But yeah, the Tae Young skin sold a lot, and it was everywhere. Everyone wanted it, and you see it in lobbies everywhere. So it's a hard ask, but that's the only way that I think behavior is going to listen. And until then, we're just going to watch it slowly kill itself more and more. And I think it's gonna stay alive and writhing and wriggling in this coffin that it's made itself until another competitor finally rises up and actually puts it in the grave. And I'm not talking like a competitor like Halloween or the Saw game that's coming out or the Hellraiser game. I'm not talking about any of those. A game is going to come out one day. It's going to be an asymmetrical horror that has its own identity. The premise will be simple. The gameplay will be simple. Maybe it'll get more complex over time. And then it'll start recruiting IPs. It's not going to be built off of a famous IP, but it's going to be fundamentally a good game with good atmosphere. And it's going to be what people are looking for.
They focus so much on the skins, making the money, getting in all the new players, but there is no effort to keep the longtime players who love the game for what it used to be, because that doesn't make money.
And so with this dreary final remark, we will close out this session of conversation, and thank you all for joining us. Sorry. Took myself a little bit too seriously there.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We heavily enjoyed your company, and we cannot wait to see you back again. So stay tuned and hit the subscribe button. Check out my co-conspirators link in the description below. Make sure to hit the like button to show us that you enjoyed this. Comment your thoughts on the state of the game so that we can further discuss this and keep this pleasant visit continuing on. Make sure to share this like it's contagious, and we'll see you in the next one.
Oh my god.